Oh, did you guys see the Surface Studio?
I played with it last week. Yeah, it's awesome.
Oh, that thing is so cool. I don't know what I would use it for, but I'm like, oh, I want one of those. Just so I play with the little knob on the screen.
Well, that knob on the screen, by the way, you can purchase it, and it doesn't have to work with that Studio. It can work with any of the Surface devices. It's a Bluetooth knob, and it is specific to 2 or 3 pieces of software. Outside of that, it's really not majorly used. And I'm only chiming in again because I played with this last week and fell in love. The only drawback that I found was the cost was $3,000.
Yeah, I saw that.
Well, but that's for the basic one, right? I mean, you don't want the basic one.
You're right. You're right.
Got some extra, right? So you're looking at the $4,000 one.
Well, thank you for pointing that out.
Nobody wants the small one.
Well, it doesn't wall mount, and so it has to be used on the desk, and I want it wall mount.
Well, that's what the Surface Hub is for, right? That's a wall-mounted one.
Well, that one's
what he's got to do
101 inches.
He's got to build the hydraulics into the wall so the whole wall tilts. That's what he's got to do.
No,
well, leave it to Bryan. He'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'm dying for either the Surface Hub or the Surface Studio. It's something I've had a product idea for years. I just haven't gotten it out of the head to actually do it. But I want this in the kitchen, and I want this in the room. I want this in the living room, the kitchen, the bedroom. So this is the wall panel that we would all see on all of those sci-fi movies from 20 and 30 years ago. It's a reality. So the question is, what do you put on that device? And that's where
the weather, the news.
Well, that would be the great screensaver, but I want it to manage my life and to help me with my day-to-day activities.
Well, then you want like a Cortana type of thing, like saying, "Oh, you need to leave right now to get to the airport," because that type of thing, right?
Well, exactly. Picture this, right? This is
a butler.
Yeah, it's a butler that's managing the household. So when you walk up to it, you want to be able to have it recognize who is standing in front of it each time, and then every person has their own to-do list and activities that they want to be reminded about, and our children need to be reminded about things that they don't want to be reminded about. And this is a great way to create some sort of consistency and some sort of checks and balances systems to help organize and manage your daily life activities. And so I've been trying for that. That's something I've been vying for with personal information management systems, CRM systems. For over 25 years, I've been trying different things. Everything from do you remember the little wizard that you used to carry in your hand that would look like a calculator?
Yeah. Yep. I had a compact, this little iPack or whatever it is, the little.
Yeah, I love those the compact iPack back in the day. So this is something that I want to put in the house, and I don't care so much about the smart home per se, but heck, it'd be really great if the manufacturers all got together and put in the reminders that, hey, you need maintenance on your refrigerator. Well, whoever thinks to do that, or the pool needs to be cleaned with. Yeah.
What kind of maintenance do I have to do on my refrigerator?
Well, if you read the instructions, you actually have maintenance on your refrigerator.
There's instructions?
Yeah, that's the thing, and nobody does it. All right, outside of me, nobody does this.
Okay, you're the weird one then, because I've never touched my fridge. I don't even know what to do with it.
Well, that's the thing.
I changed the filter. Okay, so I don't know. Is that the maintenance you're talking about? Because I do that.
That's part of it, yeah. So you change the filter if it's got a water filter in it, or an ice filter, a water filter for the ice, and then you're supposed to vacuum the coils off the bottom of it. There's a little panel off the bottom front or in the back that you're supposed to vacuum once in a while, and you're supposed to clean the damn thing, right?
I do clean it because it gets, I don't know, I have teenage kids and they made messes in it all the time, and so I was always cleaning because I don't like a messy fridge.
But see, and so those sorts of things, just a minor reminder, it doesn't have to be in your face. It can just be just to say, hey, did you know that you can get 3 more years of life out of your refrigerator if you vacuum this section out once a year? And by the way, in the next 3 weeks, it will be your yearly opportunity to do that. And you will now save an additional cost savings of $450 by simply doing this each year.
So
I think something like that is not is. What's that?
I want it to sound like a butler though when it talks.
Ex Machina.
What's that, Rob?
I can't even pronounce the title. Have you seen the movie Ex Machina?
Ex Machina.
EX.
I haven't. Can somebody send me a link to it?
Oh.
I'll watch it.
You should watch it. It's a good movie. We can talk about it some other time. That would be a really good topic.
But yeah,
that's a really interesting one, because part of what you're talking about, Brian, is it's kind of incorporated into this guy's house with, a badging system and reminders of what you're supposed to do and where you're supposed to do things. It's a really interesting movie.
I will definitely look at it. Yeah.
Yeah, you check that out, and we can talk about that in the future, because that's a good, interesting thing, because it's view of the future. But I want to say something about what you just laid out in front of us, and that is that all the technology to do that exists today.
It's here. Yeah, it's here.
It's just a matter of taking the different
pieces and putting it together. Yeah.
Yeah, because Cortana's here, and Siri and Alexa or whatever it is already do some of that types of things. Then you also have you have the touch screen technology right now. Microsoft's pushing the AI really big, so you can push all that stuff together. All you need is a screen on the wall, Wi-Fi connection.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Forget the security.
That's exactly what that Surface is for me. That Surface Hub or that Studio. That's exactly what I want to do. And I'm just not in a position to pay $3,000 to $5,000 for a piece of hardware that's going to go out of style in the first year, and everyone else is, and that's the thing, is the price point's way out right now. But this technology has been around for many, many years at this point.
Can we get it? Can we get it on a Raspberry Pi? Because then maybe we can make it cheaper.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool. I mean, talking about new tech and new stuff like that, I love talking about that. And I've watched, I read a bunch of reviews on the Surface Hub, and not the Surface Hub, but the Surface Studio.
Yep.
And everybody loves it. Anyone that's in graphic design and all that kind of stuff, they love it. I don't know what I would use it for, because, I do photo editing, and I don't know that I need all that for photo editing, but I really just want to play with that thing, because it's just the coolest thing. But I read a lot of reviews, and a lot of them were saying, like, this is like a game changer for Microsoft, because is Microsoft really trying to get into the hardware thing? Because they're just going to blow it. If this thing takes off, price point notwithstanding, this is a game changer for everybody else, because Apple still doesn't have a touchscreen for their desktop systems. So what's the deal with that? They've decided specifically, that's going to be a tablet type thing. Microsoft's saying, no, that's the desktop thing too. You know what I mean? Or a wall-mounted thing.
Well, see, and I think this is our talk for the next one of the things that I was going to talk about is the future that I see. And Rob, I don't know if I've mentioned this in front of you during one of our many conversations about ARF and whatnot, but devices, the capabilities of the devices are going to equal out. And the only difference, and when I say that is because we can virtualize the actual computing power, put it out someplace cloud-based, and I can do everything within reason of a screen size. So the only thing that's going to be different between my mobile devices is the physical size. But the capabilities and what software I can run are going to be equal regardless of the size. So if I were to take a larger device or a tablet or a flat screen, the input device, whether it be touch or keyboard, almost becomes immaterial, because I can simply Bluetooth enable whatever I want to each one of these devices. And that's a huge thing, right? That's not a very small thing. So this argument or discussion of whether Apple's going to choose to do one thing or another is almost, they're already too late, and it's almost passé, but they will. Right, they will have no choice but to. But they'll end up taking the Microsoft perspective over the last 25 years, which is, I'm late again, right? So they'll change. And unless Apple gets a replacement for Steve Jobs, that's what's going to happen, because they're too busy trying to run a business and not too busy trying to run innovation. And Microsoft's finally, in their 40-plus year existence, their 47 years in existence, finally have started to make that transition. And Microsoft's been in the hardware business since the 90s, but nobody paid any attention to the mice and then to the hardware that they've made. It's only since the Surface was deployed that actually people are starting to adopt it. And they took the Apple approach, was give it away to everybody free or damn close to free, give it to the NFL, and then people are starting to be interested in it, and now everybody's, it's as popular as an Apple store.
I think you said three, right? I mean, like Microsoft created do you remember the MSN watch that came out back in '96?
What was it?
The MSN watch.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Right? It was a watch that used the local cellular coverage back when we had the normal cell towers and roaming and all that kind of stuff to sync with the MSN network to pull down like your mail and everything else. But that was released back in 1996.
And that was huge.
Right, but people forgot about it because the infrastructure was not in place from a national level to sustain that device. Like, you had to be in major metropolitan areas for it to work. Whereas, if we fast forward like almost 20 years, 15, something like that, now you're getting into, Google and Apple both made these watches that they sync to your phone instead of a tower, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how, and everybody's like, oh, these things are awesome. Nobody's invented these. And I'm like, yeah,
they've been around forever.
96, right?
Yeah.
And they look at you like, they haven't been around since 96. And I'm like, yeah, it's the MSN watch. Go Google search it, right? And they go search it, and they're like, I had no idea this came out.
Yeah, so
back then. That's the forefather for what these watches were now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't get any points for being the forefather, though. That's the problem, right?
No, you don't. You only get points for being the trailblazer.
Right.
And that's the difference between the person who gets there first and the person who actually does something in getting there first.
Right. But I mean, I just found it interesting that, it was like that with a couple of things that Microsoft had done, but, I think they're finally getting a different spin or view on it. And
well, I think that the new management structure is really helping that change. There's Microsoft has a robotics department that you don't hear anything about. It's Microsoft Robotics Studio, and yet it's there.
Yep.
And, the R&D department's got some really interesting stuff. The New England Research and Development Group has got a lot of really cool things, but Microsoft has a disjoint between R&D and published commercialism, whereas Apple's perspective was a very different thing. What did Steve Jobs say? I'm going to take all the music off the Walkman, and I'm going to put it into a tiny little device that you can walk around and play all the music that you ever want to hear.
Yep.
And with no moving parts. And that was fantastic. But it's been a big transition last couple of years for Microsoft, and it's the same thing for Apple, especially losing Steve. So we're going to see where things turn out. In Google, my God, what they're pushing out. Have you guys played with the Google Pixel yet? This thing's pretty cool.
No, I heard it's really cool. I haven't played around with it yet, though.
Yeah, I was recently at the mall a little bit too much, all right? So I was with clearly. And I was with the family, and I went to we have a Microsoft store, Apple store, and Verizon, AT&T, and like 5 other mobile carriers, all in the same mall. So while I was waiting for the wife and child to do whatever it is that she was replacing her smashed iPhone. And it's funny because the iPhone, the screen was completely gone, but she has an iWatch that was wired to, or Bluetooth to it, and the phone calls kept coming in, and she could take the call on her wrist.
Oh wow!
Okay, so wait a second, Brian. I have to ask, what phone do you have now?
Me, I have my wife's old Galaxy S4.
Okay, so you haven't updated one. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, you remember my old one, right? My Bionic.
Yes.
Oh, Brian.
Yeah, I was playing with the Google Pixel, and because when I look to purchase one of these things, unfortunately, I've got to end up paying the $400 to $600 for it, or $700 as these are, because if I get on any of these plans, I lose my free massively unlimited data. So I can do 15 to 30 gig, 50 gig a month, and it's free. So I checked it out, and the camera and the quality and the display on the Pixel is really nice. The navigation is a bit awkward, and it's different, but it's a really nice phone. And I was playing with the the Galaxy S7 because I really wanted the Note. I want one of those big phones.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if I want one that big. You know what? To tell you my gripe about phones, because I had Windows phones forever. Back when it was the old Windows CE or whatever that was on it, I've had it forever. And I just kept it because, not because I'm loyal to Microsoft or anything like that. Maybe I am, I don't know. But I just kept it for the longest period of time. And I finally gave it up because, Microsoft's, not really supporting it, even though they sort of are. I don't know what they're doing. So I finally said, you know what, I'm tired of not having apps, really is what it came down to. I got all this new tech for my house, and I don't have any apps for it, and it was pissing me off. So I was like, well, I'm just going to get the Android. So I get the Android, and I tell you what, Microsoft, again, did it right, and Apple and stupid Android dropped the ball on it, but nobody's going to the Microsoft thing. It really frustrated me because, let me give you the example. My car, I have a Jeep, and it has a Uconnect as the in-vehicle information system. So Uconnect, basically, if you want to send a text using my Android phone or iPhone, you have to use one of their predefined messages to press and send it off. Well, none of the predefined messages work with any of the questions I ever get. They can't be distilled down to yes, no, wait, I'm driving, or what, But this is what Microsoft did, and it frustrated my wife. It was great because she was like, I want to get a Windows phone again because that's the one function I wish I had.
What, to frustrate your wife? I love that.
I know. So this is what it did. What it would do is my phone, when a phone call came in, or when a text came in, Cortana would initiate a phone call with Uconnect. And then Cortana would say, you got a new text message, do you want me to read it? Yes, read it. Okay, and then Cortana says, would you like to reply? I say yes, and I'd say whatever I wanted to say, and then Cortana would read it back to me, and sometimes it was messy and other times it wasn't, and I'd say okay, and it sent it. And then my Uconnect would say, phone call over, because it was a phone call, right? Because Cortana was able to handle that. Freaking Android can't handle that, neither can Siri. And so now, if I want to have text-to-speech for my car, now that I have an Android, even with the most expensive Uconnect radio system they have, because my new car has the $2,500 freaking one or whatever it is, I have to pay $150 a year to have an app on the stupid thing so I can talk to that app that would then send the text message through my phone.
Yep.
Microsoft had this all figured out.
Yep.
So, here's my question is, why do we have to have a $2,500 radio? Why can't I take a $2,500 Surface and snap it into the car and get everything that I ever wanted?
Why? Yeah, you're absolutely right. No, so I looked into this. There is like apps that you can get, and you can put your Surface in your car, and you can plug it into the little under the dash. There's a little plug. I forget what the name of the plug is. I have one where I can go into it, and the app that I have allows me to clear the codes, look up the codes.
It's an OBD. Yeah, it's an onboard diagnostics. I bought one for $20. That's how I got my old Honda through inspection.
But
years back.
But there's now so you're a code guy, so write me up something so I can plug that in, and then I can get all the information I want on it. I saw something somewhere, and I have to go back and look at it because I was looking at a four-wheel drive magazine, and they had a display, and I don't know what the display was. It wasn't the normal radio, but it had a display that showed everything about the vehicle, like is it level? Because if you're four-wheel driving, you kind of want to know, like, am I tilting too far?
Yeah.
Am I tilting too far? There's a certain level that if you're too far to the left, you're going to roll over. So you want to know that before you get to it. So so it had this in the display and warnings for that kind of stuff. But I was like, oh, that is like the coolest thing. That should be something that's easy and cheap to do, not something that's expensive. I just put a Surface or a tablet. All I need to have is an interface to the in-vehicle information system or to the OBD or whatever it is. I don't know the difference between those things, but it's got to be possible. Let's do it.
It is possible, yeah. I signed up 4 years ago. I signed up as a General Motors software developer for their infotainment
OnStar
system.
thing, yeah.
It's not OnStar. It was actually GM themselves. OnStar is a wholly owned company by themselves.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, and they canceled. They canceled the program.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I guess the product that they had put in was so bad that after, I think it was the 2013 calendar year, they just shut it all down and they did nothing with it. And I haven't touched anything with it yet. I'm just waiting for the marketplace on the infotainments to settle a bit, because it's been for the industry, it's been 10 years of it's new. And they're still all fighting and struggling to make it proprietary and do your own stuff. And it's going to break shortly, in the next 2 to 3 years, maybe 4 years is what my guess is, because BlackBerry has really taken over that market. From what I heard, I don't know that for fact.
Well, BlackBerry owns the market. They have like 70% of the market share on the operating systems that are in-vehicle information systems. But what the trend has been, and a couple of car manufacturers say they're ditching BlackBerry, and it's not called BlackBerry, it's called something else, NGX or something. I don't remember what it was. But they're dumping it for a Linux-based system, and Ford is saying that they're going to dump Microsoft for the Linux-based system because there's no licensing and it's cheap.
Yeah, well, that and it works because the Ford Active Sync and all that other stuff really sucked. I don't know about your personal experiences with it, but I've known
I don't drive Fords.
Yeah,
you know what Ford stands for? Found on road dead.
Fix or repair.
Fix or repair daily.
Yeah. But
effed up. What is it?
But effed up. There's been a lot of people that have had problems with it, and it's unfortunate because there's a Mustang that Microsoft had purchased and threw in the Kinect. And I think that is friggin' absolutely fantastic. You've got that full onboard camera in the front and in the rear, and it's got infrared. It's got all of the capabilities that your standard Kinect has, but it's from a car perspective. So if you're driving too close, just like you have today, where your cruise control is adaptive, that it will know and mirror the car in front of you. Microsoft had that 6, 7, 8 years ago. And, it was just by throwing a Kinect in. The developers talked about how damn difficult it was to get everything working. But once they got it working, it's pretty solid. And I think Tesla is another one who's making massive technology leaps and bounds with the car, not just on the electric design, but the software that runs it. They push out software updates, over the air nightly or weekly, and that's incredible.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm excited about that stuff. I think it needs to be genericized, like that Linux-based product. I think that's a fantastic idea. And then but unfortunately, well, up until last year, we would all have to be Java developers for Linux. But because of the rollout of C# through Xamarin across all platforms now I can actually write code to it, which is awesome.
Cool. Hey, well, we got to call it quits tonight because I got to go. Sorry, Rob. Do you have a last word that you want to put in there?
No. Great talking to you again, Bryan.
Yeah, same here, man.
Hey, it's good talking to you guys. And then you said what did we say that we were going to talk about next time?
You'll hit rewind and you'll hear it there.
HoloLens.
HoloLens. Okay. Talk to you guys later.
All right.
Have a good one.
Have a good night.